angličtinu se mi anglicky, ale nenašel jsem průsečtění. So, I would like to greet you in this panel discussion, and in order to start, I would like to introduce our distinguished guests. On my left, there's Natalия Šuga from Kharkiv Crisis Info Center. On the right, there's Roman Šutov from Detector Media and Teлекritика. And last but not least, Iván Sинепалов from Gромадське ТБ in Mariupol, Громадське Азов. So, let's start with a short introduction about the role of Russian propaganda in Ukraine in the last 2 years, and I would like to ask Roman Šutov to produce some short overview what happened, why it happened, and how the Russian propaganda influenced the course of events in the last 20 years.
Thank you, Andrei. Ladies and gentlemen, excuse me for not speaking Czech. I need to use English in order to understand each other. Let me say a couple of words what's happened in Ukraine during the last 2 years, why it happened. I think that many of you know good the situation. But anyway, let me make a very short overview. 2 years ago, we had a country to a great degree oligarchized. And we had a media landscape to a great degree dependent on Russian influence. What it means. We had a very large amount of Russian TV, Russian films on our national TV. We had a very large amount of national press that was related to Russian business, and so on. We had Russian military ships in our Crimea peninsula, and we had some specific problems in the east and in the west, in the east and on the south of Ukraine. I mean that some of those people, they mentally felt connected with the Soviet past more than with Ukrainian nowadays reality. 10% of the population of Donbass felt themselves still as citizens of the Soviet Union, because these people used to feel themselves citizens of the Soviet Union, and then after 20 years of Ukrainian independence, nobody made them feel themselves as Ukrainians. And consequently, these people were connected with, were emerged into the Russian information and cultural space. They watched Russian TV, Russian films, and they watched Zadornov jokes, joking about the stupid Americans, the very, very, very bad Europe, and very, very good Russia, and everyone loved, until it stopped being funny. And finally, in November-December 2013, some people in our country were too bored of the Yanukovych regime because it was really unbearable at the time, and finally these people decided to go to the central square of Kyiv. These people were not so many, 1.5 million, some political actors, some governments were a bit surprised what's going on. Something goes wrong. Okay, so maybe we need to do something in Ukraine. Our revolution wins. So okay, some time ago we had an idea to occupy Crimea and had some plans regarding this. Okay, and so on and so forth. and Kremlin government, they started the operation of occupation of Crimea and of occupation of south and east of Ukraine. Finally, they managed to occupy Crimea and they failed to occupy the territories. But the attempt really had place. And they started to during the revolution, during our revolution in Kiev, there was a very strong campaign of disinformation among the citizens of the east and of the south of Ukraine. First of all, as I told you, these people watched Russian TV. Really, 47% of people watched Russian TV at least once a week, and they watch news on Russian TV. 47%, imagine. And these people really they started to see all these lies on Russian TV, and they watched Ukrainian TV as well. But Ukrainian TV was also it felt some pressure from the Yanukovych government, and the Ukrainian TV channels they distorted the situation on Maidan. And consequently, these people appeared disinformed. And aggressive Russian propaganda went in line with the old stereotypes, old Soviet-type stereotypes about the bloody Americans, bloody Europeans, and fascists that are alive, and these Western Ukrainians that hate Eastern Ukrainians, and all other stuff like this. And these people being emerged into Russian information space, into Russian culture space, they really started believing in this. And even now, we have 27% of population of the east, of the southern part of Ukraine, who believe that in Kyiv 2 years ago we had the military state of power. And almost 30% of people in the eastern part of Ukraine, they think that Kyiv government in the east conducts the military operation against its own population. People in the east don't believe in this, only people in the south. So, and Russia, when the war, how the war began and how it is connected with propaganda. First of all, I told you that the people were disinformed about Maidan. People were frightened of Americans, fascists, Nazis, and other civilians. And after this, Russia started to promote all this message through Russian TV, through social media, through local media, not national but local media, and also local elites. Some local elites supported Russia in this, and they started to disseminate the same message. And all this machine, it in fact legalized the Russian invasion into Ukraine before these people who live in the state. What do we have now? We have the occupied Crimea and occupied eastern territories. First, what the occupants made first is they switched off all the Ukrainian TV channels, and they started to persecute pro-Ukrainian journalists. All the pro-Ukrainian journalists had to leave the occupied area. Consequently, the population under occupation has no access to Ukrainian media at all, only via internet. And the level of internet using on this territory is rather low. Consequently, these people feel themselves divided, separated from information space of Ukraine, and they consume only propaganda product made by Russia. And we have the population of other part of Ukraine, population that don't believe in Russian fairy tales, mostly. Population that population that feels tiredness of war, that feels frustrations because of our inability to resist Russian military aggression, frustration because of loss of Crimea and loss of part of Donbass. population that has very strong emotion connected with law, and Russia now manipulates with all these emotions. Russia now promotes barriers and aggression between different groups of Ukrainian society. We have war, we have not refugees but IDPs, internally displaced persons, people who left the area of conflict and now live in capital or other regions, and they feel some troubles with their integration into society. Our boys and men, they get back from the war, they get back to their homes, and they feel problems with integrating into society. And Russian propaganda tries to isolate these people more and more, to make these people more and more aggressive, to make the society more and more aggressive against them, and so on and so forth. The people who live in Kyiv or in Lviv, they feel aggressive against the people who remain under occupation. They feel aggressive against the Russian, the population of Russia itself. I don't mean that all these people share this habit, no. But some emotions appear, and Russian propaganda increases. Because destabilization of Ukraine will lead to the fact that Ukraine just stop its resistance to Russia. Now we limited the transmission of Russian TV channels because it's really source of hatred, really source of deadly dangers to our citizens. Now we limited the transmission of Russian TV, of Russian films, because Russian films is a very strong source of propaganda and so spreading Russian view of things. But nevertheless, our people consume Ukrainian media, and there are many Ukrainian media outlets are connected with Russian business. And they are so patriotic, they are very patriotic, but slightly in so high manner they promote pro-Russian view of things. We have central TV channels that are connected with Russian business, and they promote the same discourse as Russian TV promotes. And in fact, they work with the Ukrainian national legislation, and they are okay, they are Ukrainian, and they are patriotic, but in fact they do the same thing that Russian propaganda machine does. And this is a problem that we have now. I can speak more and more, but I think that I should stop and for my colleagues. And I think that you have more questions to ask.
Thank you, Roman. I would like to ask Natalia, because Kharkov is a city that basically, according to some plans, was designed to be capital of the so-called Novorossiya, that is stripped from Kharkov to Odessa. And I remember watching the demonstrations in Kharkiv like in 2013 and 14. There was violent clashes between anti-Maidan and Maidan forces, and to me it was quite frightening. But nevertheless, like Donetsk and Luhansk, Kharkiv withstood. And so I would like to ask you what was the specific of Kharkiv and why it survived, and what's the situation right now?
I want to apologize for my English, but I try to explain our situation now and what happened in Kharkiv years ago. When Maidan is ended in Kyiv, in Kharkiv just beginning. Maidan in Kharkiv just beginning. And my project was beginning 2 years ago, how dependent media, because informational space in Kharkiv few years очищалась. man who regularly change position. He choose what's удобнее, comfortable. Что удобнее? More comfortable for his. And in this situation, he don't know how they send it, and he supports anti-Maidan, so-called anti-Maidan. It's a big movement which support Russia. And we found it. We started works how independent media, independent space, where we organized a discussion about situation. We told about other different opinions. We should opinions on other movement, on anti-Maidan and Euromaidan, and it was enough because people on anti-Maidan was very specifically. It's I'm sorry for my saying. It's freaks. These people don't understand what they want, because they want Earth, they want Soviet Union, they want to feel themselves yours man, yours woman who will only see, who was full of strength, and I want to add that these people to believe in a salary, in a big salary in Russia. It was very funny for us because we all have part of family. We have relatives in Russia, and we know situation, reality situation. And I think that Kharkiv different from Donetsk, Lugansk, and Crimea, because our people not support big part of Kharkiv people not support this idea, not support Russian, and Russian smart guy, they не осмелились. Didn't have courage to fight with civil society in Kharkiv. For 2 years, our civil society grow up because it's we have so many social initiative volunteers, and now we know that that's Russian. It's Kharkiv, absolutely Ukrainian city. We know that we have part of our population who support Russia, but it's not so big part. I think now in Kharkiv, maybe 10 persons who believe in Russian propaganda. But Kharkiv different. It's a big part of Kharkiv people. Some indifferent. They care. They don't care what happened. They lives. They works. I don't know. Peter Pomerantsev is it's a English Britain journalist. Consider that it's most reason why Kharkiv not Russia now. I know maybe it's true. Our population, our citizens, big part of our citizens not active, and all meetings which was in Kharkiv 2 years ago. But a big part of participants in this meeting приехали из России. They came from Russia. It's a close district, close area in the Russian border. It's a Belgrade, some cities. Kursk, yeah. And it's not Kharkiv citizen. But I would like to say that Russian propaganda, we have Russian propaganda, not just media. We have Russian propaganda in education now, in government, because in Kharkiv, because we have Mayor Kernes, who support Russia 2 years ago, and now he is absolutely Ukrainian man. But we know that our situation, I think it's impossible, but if our situation is changed, Kernes was support Russian. So again, and it's dangerous for us. But as I say, our civil society, we have a part of civil society which is very active now. Our people take a part in the reforms, take a part in help for ADPs, take a part in help for our soldiers, demobilized soldiers. And we have civil society who grow up faster than our government. We live in parallel reality. Some maybe.
Yes, thank you, Natalia. And if I said that it was quite surprising that Kharkiv withstood that wave of pro-Russian demonstrations and direct confrontations, direct influence from Russia. In the case of Mariupol, I think it's almost a miracle because no one actually believed that this city will be enough people who would defend the city against separatists, but nevertheless they did. And it was even from military point of view, it was very surprising, and it was done by mainly by volunteer battalions and the citizens of the city. So I would like to ask Ivan, what was the situation back in 2013-14? What's the situation now?
Thank you, Andrzej. Thank you for coming. First of all, may I add just one thing about what Natalia said. One of the things you should know about Kharkiv, maybe it's not the main thing, but very influential. There was such person as Arsen Avakov, who is now our Ministry of Internal Affairs. He is from Kharkiv, he has his business in Kharkiv, he don't want Kharkiv to be in Russia. So while he is Minister of Internal Affairs, he put all his efforts to protect Kharkiv. When all this started in eastern Ukraine, no one came with enough forces in Donetsk or Luhansk to finish all this on the early stages. It happened in Kharkiv when 50 militaries just came and arrested all these separatists who was in the building of Oblast administration. If we are talking about Donetsk, head of the security service came to Donetsk to talk with them, and all the first persons of Ukrainian state came to Donetsk to talk with the separatists, not to fight them. And maybe that's one of the reasons why in Kharkiv it hasn't happened, and in Donetsk it will not. What about Mariupol? Mariupol is it's really a miracle. It's the city which have not may not be stood, but it's our luck was when on the very beginning of all these events, they separatists focused their main forces on Donetsk and Slavyansk, and left kind of 100 armed people in Mariupol with a lot of local people and people who came from Rostov here to support them. So Mariupol was not actually under occupation like Slavyansk or Donetsk. It was under occupation like Russia. And it, Andrei said right, it was liberated by forces of civil society which supported Ukrainian army from the very beginning, because it was a big problem on the start of this war. No one understood that the war is coming. No one. And even soldiers who had to fight, they weren't ready to fight. And in this, our soldiers, in a couple of times, they just gave their bicycles and arms to babushkas, which came and told them that we don't want you to be here. So we in Mariupol did the opposite thing. We came to our soldiers first. We told them, we are living here, we are Ukrainians, you are here to protect us. Don't believe if somebody will tell you another. And that's why soldiers in Mariupol were more motivated than soldiers in other parts of Donetsk and Luhansk region. And actually, Operation of Liberation was held by Battalion Azov, Battalion Dnipro, and National Guard. All of these volunteers. When Russian regular army came across Ukrainian border on the 26th of August, it very fast came to the borders of Mariupol. Just 10 kilometers from the city they stopped. And we really were afraid that Mariupol could be given to Russians, and because we did not understand, and no one understand at that time what's going to happen. We saw that we saw our soldiers which come at that time they come west, so they were they were withdrawn from their positions on the front line. So we decided that if our government want Mariupol to be Russian, we must do something. And we gathered a meeting, just a meeting, but the largest one in the history of Mariupol, with Ukrainian flags, with some catchphrases, and while we were on this meeting, our soldiers came back on their positions. I'm sure that our meeting was one of the reasons why soldiers, why there were an order for soldiers to camp on their positions back. And it's after this meeting in a week or two, President Poroshenko came to Mariupol, said it will be Ukraine, everything will be up, and that was a signal for us to quit to be calm, and the signal for Putin that Mariupol will not be given. And from that point of time, actually, Mariupol is still on front line, but it's defended good enough, and I think by forces of, first of all, civil society, it was defended, and so-called Russian world cannot pass through to the Crimea as they wanted to.
I want to add, you remember about Avakov, and I want to add that when our party of region organized a big siest, big congress when Yanukovych running from Maidan, and they waiting for Yanukovych on this congress in Kharkiv. In Kharkiv, вышли на митинг. Kharkiv citizen came to protest. I think it was most large meeting in Kharkiv. I think it was 50,000 people. And Kermes and Dobkin, our governor, ex-governor, they unexpected the situation. They was absolutely sure that Kharkiv was capital of Novorossiya, but our people says no. And in this day, Avakov became Ministry of Defense. It was very important. Interior, yeah. It was very important for our people. It's not people who comes from Russia. It was Kharkiv people.
Honorable mention of Mariupol. Mariupol mayor did not come for this conference, despite he was a member of party.
Okay, thank you very much for your opening remarks. Next question I would like to ask is what to do about countering the Russian propaganda in our region, but not only in Ukraine or in Europe, because you can hardly compete with a huge budget of Russian TV and agency Россия сегодня, which includes the English TV channel RT or Sputnik agency. Roman already mentioned the ban on Russian broadcasting. Okay, but this is a sort of passive reaction. So, what do you think your media or European media can do about countering the influence of Russian propaganda?
First of all, I'd like to be sure that we understand equally what propaganda means. Because when we speak with some of our European colleagues, they understand that for them, propaganda is a fake. Is a sheer lie. Is when the journalists, when something does not occur, but journalists have some report that allegedly it occurred, and the reporter shows you the lie, something that didn't happen. For Ukrainians now, the propaganda is more discourse. Discourse is a set of the ideas of views on how the world lives, the set of the cause and consequences relations that lie on the base of the world. It's a world map, Русский мир. Русский мир is a set of ideas. And this set of ideas can be promoted not through fakes. Journalists can give you only truth, only the real facts and the real figures, but he can compose it in the way that you start to think in a way very close to Russian mir. And this is very complicated to indicate. It's quite easy to check the facts in the report and say, oh, this is a lie, this is a fake, it's not a true. It's very complicated to detect the propaganda, the manipulations of facts, manipulations of figures that is on the is not a fake, but it's a slight manipulation that gives your brain closer to Kremlin project. That's why first that we should do certainly when we speak about the constant propaganda is the easiest is to monitor fakes and to show our people, look, this journalist tells you lies, this media tells you lies, and in this way our people stop using this and this media. But in fact this is the easiest. More complicated is to understand what kind of vision does Kremlin wants us to have. What kind of beliefs does it want to inject into our brains? And how it manipulates with facts and with truth in order to make us think and feel the concrete way. What we do in Ukraine? In Ukraine, we monitor Russian media and try to detect what do they want from us. Then we monitor Ukrainian media with a focus on the media close to Russians. And we try to detect how concretely they manipulate truth and what they do with facts in order to make us feel or think something. And after this, we try to produce something to communicate this knowledge to our citizens. And to tell them, be careful, if somebody speaks with you about the great victory over fascism, be careful. Sometimes it can be, this guy can be manipulator. And if he speaks about that Soviet people won, or Russian people won, be careful. Ukrainians also won that war. And please be careful with figures, with facts, and so on. But this is very complicated because we have 46 million of Ukrainians and it's very hard to communicate this to all of them. And now we understand that we need a more complicated system of media literacy promotion. We need to teach our citizens to understand media, to understand how they work, how they manipulate, to whom they belong, and how the owner can manipulate the TV channel or the newspaper, how the journalist can manipulate the facts and so on, and how to detect this. This is media literacy, and this is very hard, and it takes very, very long time to teach people media literacy. And we now understand that we need to start from the very beginning, from our children, from the school. We need to introduce this subject in the school education system, and we need very, very, very much time. And we don't have it because we have a war, and the people now are dying, and so on and so forth. That's why what I can tell to you as a people who still have time, don't waste it. Don't waste it, and invest resources into media literacy promotion. Invest resources into protection of your information space from any kind of excessive foreign influences. Let it be Russian or Ukrainian or Turkish, Ireland, and so on and so forth. Don't let some country dominate in your information space. Try to produce more your national information product. Try to, try to make co-production with your neighbors. Try to make exchange of news between your national media outlets in order to increase the amount of your national information product. And in this case, in this way, you will have the natural immunity from the foreign, negative foreign influence. And of course, monitor the situation, try to know what's going on, and who wants vote from your country, which territories, and who want to occupy, and try to analyze all your weaknesses and try to destroy them. You have still time.
Yes, thank you very much, Roman. I would like, because I was in the last year and a half, I was traveling quite extensively around eastern Ukraine, and especially I was speaking with the local journalists, and basically the picture was so nice, because very often the mass media belonged to some local politicians, oligarchs, of course, and there was basically no way how to make the normal mass media to be profitable, which means independent. So, Natalia, what's your point of view on that situation? Is there any way how to get out of this situation?
I agree with Roman about media literacy. It's very important, especially for our youth. But I think before that we should to develop our independent media, because we have not independent media. It's just in Kharkiv 3 independent media. It's a local. It's a small team. In my team, 8 people. In the other team, 4 and 5 people who not feel press from owner. We're absolutely independent. We have. I think it's a way to out in the situation. We have space. We have physically space like this, where we can talk about situation. We can discuss for other actuality topic. It's concern our social initiative. It's concern our volunteers, our problems with our local government, because our government is so closed. It's difficult to give information from our government, and I think that's a more important thing to develop our independent media. We need competition between media. Now we don't have competition. It's not normal. And important thing Roman says about paradigm World War II, yes, with our history. It's a serious problem in our school. Not all teachers in school support Ukraine. Not all teachers understand Ukrainian, and they teach our children on old rules, on old books, and they continue to tell them that they not called this war World War II. They called Great Patriotic War, and it's problem. It's now in this holiday, in this year, May 9, in school проводились уроки. Took place lessons about World War II, and our teachers invited in this lesson our veterans, but we have not veterans now. It's absolutely old people, and they can't go to school. It's not veterans. It's old people, but they not fight on this war. It's impossible. And now we have many no veterans, it's fake veterans, yes. It needs just for just to support this idea. Then Soviet Union was absolutely the Soviet Union, it's all for us, for our people. I want to say about problem in our government that we have not communication our government between social society, civil society. It's absolutely destroyed communication, and civil society grow up. But if our government take reform, make reform, our civil society don't know about this. Our communication department in government they think that their task defends his boss, not communicating, just defense his boss. It's a problem now.
Yes, thank you. Well, just to add that in the 9th of May, there was a famous viral video from the march of these veterans in Kiev, and there are some journalists asking apparently much younger people what kind of veterans are they, you know, and they told them, yeah, sure, Czechoslovakia, 1968. So for them it was no problem. Well, Ivan is a representative of the new mass media, internet TV, that started to work in summer 2013, and during Maidan events became hugely popular, and watching live stream discussions and so on. And now they are fighting to become a, let's say, normal mass media, not a revolution one, but let's say standard. So I would like to ask Ivan to tell us something about your work as a journalist in Mariupol.
I'm pretty a little bit confused because public television, which we can perceive, is an independent media, and there is no such kind of branches of public television in the region. It's all about independent organizations which created on the exact places and which communicate with each other, but there is not vertical, communication only, for example. And if we're talking about, so maybe we will return to the topic of propaganda.
Sure, but if we are talking about how to counter it, so we should probably set up our own agenda. You know? And, so I would just like to ask you just to describe what you are doing and how effective it is, or the kind of.
If we're talking about our public television of Azov, it's independent television, yes, which created by volunteers, which is supported by volunteers. We have no some oligarch owner or state owner, and that's on the one hand it's a big plus for us. For another hand, it's a big minus because we are have no such resources that traditional media have. And our target audience audience is not people who believe in so-called Russia or something else. There is a line between journalists and activists, and we are working on this line and show our activists how to solve some problems, how to find solutions where they can do it themselves. And yes, we are making some documentaries, some reports, but our main task is to show people how to solve their problems. And in fact, we have no issue with propaganda in its pure version. Some kind of, propaganda of healthy life or something like that. Returning to how Russian propaganda started in Ukraine. Roman said that there were 10% people in the Donetsk region who believe that they were citizens of Soviet Union before the war started. But you have to understand that this 10% have their own story, in fact. Because when the Soviet Union fell, as Poland, every single man in the past told that I'm Ukrainian and we will build our own country, we will not feed Moscow, and we will live in our Ukrainian state. But then, Russia could not exist without Ukraine. Russia will not be empire without Ukraine. And Russia will come to us back more and more time again because they need us. Our task is to stop them at some point of time. And we didn't realize this for 23 years. We didn't realize that they will come back. But they have prepared the basis for this coming. It all started by TV series, soap operas, TV shows, films, music. They just inserted these ideas of Russian world in minds of Ukrainians by using soft power. And they tried even to annex some part of Ukrainian territory 13 years ago. In 2003, they tried to connect Ukrainian island Tuzla with Russian Krasnodarski Krai to become Russian territory. Then, at that time, President Kuchma did everything to stop them, but no one really, even then, no one have understood that it's a real threat. Even after Georgian War of August 2008, nobody was aware of it. This kind of propaganda is a smart one, and they have used it for a long time. And I don't know what is happening on Czech television, but maybe at some point it may be there already. So Czech Republic, Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, all these countries, Finland, all of these countries should be aware of Russian because they empire on their mind, and they want everything back and a little more, and in addition. So this smart part of propaganda have worked in Ukraine for all these 23 years, and that's where this 10% of people came from. There were not people who believed that they are citizens of the Soviet Union. Everyone believed that they are citizens of Ukraine. Even Crimea voted on a referendum in 1991 to be part of Ukraine. And then, after influence of this smart propaganda, they started to believe that they are citizens of Soviet Union. And they wanted to come back to the Soviet Union. They don't want to join Russia. They actually believe that they are joining the Soviet Union. And on the other hand, we have stupid propaganda, straight propaganda, which contains fakes and yes. All the stories you may have heard about raped old ladies by Ukrainian soldiers, about eaten boys, and all this stuff. They even 2 hours in broadcast, and they discussed how Russia has won Eurovision. So, what are you talking about?
Okay, thanks. So, the first rounds are over. So I would like to ask if someone from the audience has any questions for our guests.
I'm a Russian staying here. My name is Sergei Yukan. I've got two questions, quick questions to the friends who are here in the desk. How can you explain that in Ukraine everything now belongs to Ukrainians? The media, the press, and everything. Practically, the Russian films are banned. The Russian TV is banned. But how the Russian actors, hundreds of Russian actors, are banned to enter the territory of Ukraine? How can you say that now the Russian propaganda is active on the territory of Ukraine if practically everything is banned? That's one question. And another question is, I don't know whether the audience knows that a couple of days ago, all of us, we believe in freedom of press. All of us, we believe in free movement of the journalists around the world. And maybe the audience doesn't know that a few days ago, the Ukrainian government banned the number of Russian journalists who entered the territory of Ukraine. For example, there is my friend Pavel Gusev, who is the owner of the most popular Russian newspaper, Moskovsky Komsomolets. He was born in Ukraine and so on and so on. He was very surprised that he was also put on the list of the journalists who are banned to enter the territory of Ukraine. How can you say about the freedom of press when you ban the free movement of the journalists? There are these two questions I would like to.
First of all, not everything has been banned yet. I would ban much more. The second thing, nobody thought that for this moment Russian propaganda is active in Ukraine. We told about the situation a couple of years ago, the situation about 20 years ago, but now Russian propaganda is active on occupied territories, not in Ukraine, thank God. What about freedom of press? Well, you know, Moskovsky Komsomolets is a beautiful newspaper which writes news about Kramatorsk with tag life in DPR. So when you are propagandist, when you are not journalist, and when you call Kiev authorities junta, it's not journalism. It's not about freedom of press, it's about state security.
Let me add something. I disagree with the idea that Russian propaganda is not that effective in the part of Ukraine controlled by the government. Because still we have, as I told you, we have plenty of Ukrainian national media connected with Russian business or with Kremlin. And they are promoters of Russian propagandistic discourse. We have very significant case related to newspaper Vesti, Who don't know, I can tell you that it was some guy came from Moscow with some money. He established a newspaper. The journalists in this newspaper received the money, the highest salaries among the newspaper journalists in Kyiv, but they received it in cash. And this newspaper was produced daily, in color, disseminated for free. And when you enter the metro, the underground, in the early morning, you see everyone reading newspaper VST. And this newspaper was full of pro-Russian messages. And finally, we stopped this mess. But for 2 years, this was real. And it was in Kyiv, yes, in the 5 biggest cities in Ukraine. And yes, still in Ukraine we have the agents of Russian propaganda, and these agents, they work within national legislation, and they are okay, they're Ukrainian TV channels and Ukrainian newspapers, and we still don't know how to limit the negative consequences of this propagandistic activity, and not to violate the freedom of speech. And still we try to not to violate freedom of speech and all this propagandism.
I want to not agree with banned Russian TV and Russian actors and Russian journalists, because I think that it's not way in this situation and not way of out in this situation. I think that our people, and I think in people in our government don't understand some European values. Because open discussion, it's Europeans' values too. And now country, not all country can to take a part in an open discuss. It's a very big problem in Kharkiv. As I say, in Kharkiv we have we have not independent media. I say about this. All our media belong our oligarchs. 3 or 5 media belong our mayor, scams, and we have not a normal open discussion about situation in Ukraine. And one more things. I think that we have not alternative quality Russian TV, Russian serials, Russian newspaper, because it's a very good newspaper. It's a good paper, it's a good print, it's a good photo. I don't know. Our people to eat it. And in Kharkiv we have not newspaper to compete with this with Western. And it's a problem. But I think if our media will be strong, will be professional, will be good, we will have good journalists, have analytics article. I think that Russian propaganda not will be terrible, terrible for us. I think that our society was grown up for this discourse that Russian propaganda, Russian TV and Russian serial was normal on our TV, because we have not, не можем сравнивать. We cannot compare. And maybe now, when in our country war goes on, maybe it's a way, because people near the border in Kharkiv region, they believe in Russian TV channel. And I have a situation when I talk with old woman. We normally talk. She understands me. Maybe she not agree with my view, but she understands that I made to have my view. But after 2 days, after our conversation, they saw Kisilev on Russia 1. It's a Russian 24 channel. It's absolutely stupid informational program, analytics daily, weekly program on Russian TV channel. We have conversation too, and she told me about we have Ukrainian fascists in NATO. We eat children. Yeah.
Russian speaking babies.
Yeah.
We have two slaves. Each of us has two slaves.
It's a terrible thing because I think it's maybe it's NLP technologies, some psychologists press. Maybe it's not to запрет, to prohibition. Maybe it's not way. I understand that Europe don't understand us in this situation, but now we have not other alternative. We have not alternative, I think.
Okay, thanks. Well, sometimes I can understand that the situation of de facto war is extremely complicated, and to keep sober mind is very hard. Sometimes there are some steps like the publication of the list of journalists that were accredited and DNR, and to label them as collaborators with terrorists. It certainly doesn't help in understanding the situation in Ukraine for the at least Western audience. Okay, so next question. There's anyone?
Hi, thank you for your presentation. I have a question. Can you name any kind of source of information that you use that you consider reliable and trustworthy? But basically, my question is, where do you get your information that you think is actually true?
In Ukraine?
Not only like if you use, for example, the European one or Russian one, even I would like to hear that, like the examples.
Well, if to talk about Ukraine, I believe, and you may believe, our public television of Azov TV, and see. Well, when we're talking about Russian media, well, it's better not to go there because you will be, your mind will be dirty after that, and you don't have to, you don't want just to put in this health. And if about European, international, I prefer BBC.
See, after all of this happened in Ukraine, now we have one simple rule. The only thing that we can rely on is our eyes, ears, nose, and so on. And if we haven't seen something, we still doubt if it happened. Even if we receive the information from the very reliable source, we cannot be sure. Especially when we speak not about facts, but about analytics or something like this. We don't know what's in the mind of the author of this analytics and how he manipulates those figures. So speaking about, I don't think that it will be interesting for you to listen my opinion about our Ukrainian media. If I want to have a picture, I've used 3 or 5 media at once in order to make more or less complete construction of situation. If speaking about European media, please, the same. When you use one media outlet, you always receive only one small part of reality, and this part of reality always has some some print of journalistic opinion and some print of subjectivity and so on, even if it's a very, very, very super professional reporting. I like independent, Time and BBC and so on, but I see that even they manipulate. When you speak to Russia Today journalists, they always tell you, but everyone manipulates. Everyone is propagandist. It's impossible not to be a propagandist. In this regard, I'd like to invent another term for what Russian media are doing. Okay, let us all be propagandists. If we all are propagandists, Russian media are not propagandists, but somewhere other. Yeah, in fact, every media manipulates in more or less way. And the only way to have more or less good construction of reality is to use as much source of media as possible.
You know, sometimes it's much better to read Facebook and then...
I believe in my eye, and if I want to understand what's going on in our war in NATO, I go in NATO, and I speak with our soldiers. I want to say about Facebook that it's trap now, because we are doing for themselves our space, a very comfortable space. We banned friends with him we not agree, and I think it's dangerous because we think that when we print the opinion in Facebook, our opinion, we think that all agree with yours, but it's not true. Facebook, it's a trap for us now, especially in Ukraine, especially in other patriotic area. It's an interesting thing.
Thanks. I would like just to add my own story that during the summer of 2014, the situation was so massive that you really couldn't rely on any kind of information except of your eyes or eyes of someone you really trust. From the point of view of the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense, there was a huge successful operation. On the separatist side, there was a that everything is fantastic and the Russian tanks are closing to Kiev. So we made a Facebook group, a Facebook chat, where there was about 30, 40 journalists from 15 countries, I believe, including Russia. And every morning we just shared what we have seen. It was the only reliable source to understand what is happening. Okay, so and another question was somewhere there.
Okay, so I just wanted to ask, I think, Ivan, you were talking about the fact that even here in the Czech Republic we should be aware of the Russian propaganda, and I think, Roman, you said that we still have time to be able to counter that. Obviously, I understand that you are in a very different situation in Ukraine than we are here in this country. But just to make sure that I understand what you are saying, because here in this country I feel like there's a mainstream media, and when there's a media that tries to provide an alternative point of view, they're immediately labeled as Russian propaganda. I'm just concerned that with any different opinion that diverts from the mainstream point of view that we have here in the Czech Republic, that is immediately labeled as Russian propaganda. Are you saying that the Czech people should not be exposed, should not even be exposed to different points of views? Could it all be just about the European Union, United States? Yes, it's just what you need to ask.
Please return the microphone to the gentleman. I want to be sure that I understood the question correctly. Am I correct that you asked me what about the alternative voices, and do we label all?
Maybe just I didn't make myself clear. But you are saying that we should be aware of the Russian propaganda, and we still have time. Are you saying that the Czech people should not have there should not be any alternatives? There is what I was saying, that we have some media that offer different points of view that are immediately labeled as Russian propaganda. People who read this media can be more concrete. I can talk about parliament in one state, this kind of stuff. That's not considered positive in the society if you listen to it, you read this kind of media. So the question is it wrong if there are alternative points of views? Should anything coming from Russia or any sort of media that shows Russia in different light, should it be banned, or what should be the approach towards this kind of alternative point of view?
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to make an emphasis that alternative Russian propaganda mimics as an alternative point of view. Alternative point of view is something sanctified in democratic society. Because democratic society cannot exist without alternative point of view. Okay, so we are alternative point of view, and we will kill you. That's what Russian propaganda does. What can we do with this? Because it's always a dichotomy, it's always a contradiction between the security and the freedom of speech. And now in Ukraine we have a joke, something like this: the gravestone, and it's written Ukraine 1991 to 2016. RIP, it was democratic till the end. And so now we try to find this line between the security reasons and the freedom of speech. And we understand the risk that if ban everybody, so we cannot be democratic. And we don't claim you to ban everybody, but we want you to think about your security. If the democracy is still valid for you, so think about how to save the democracy. And if there is something that undermines democracy, that makes you feel, makes you not trust to democratic institution, make you have doubts in that democracy, the only civilized way of your development, and that the democracy is your choice. This is dangerous. And what to do with this? I know that in your country there are a number of alternative point of views produced by different astrology websites that do some different myths and legends that assure you that everyone lies, everything is possible, and you don't know anything about this world and chaos is around you, and the truth is out there and you don't know the truth, and everyone lies. I think that the only democratic way that you can go is, again, media literacy. Teaching people that you don't need to believe everybody. You don't need to believe everything that's written on paper on the website. Remember that there are some governments that have some plans regarding your country. There are some forces that want to use democracy, the weaknesses of democracy. Remember this, and sometimes when you see another conspiracy theory, remember that it can be lie, it cannot be true. It may be true, but okay, let's take another source of information. It's the only thing that we can offer. Banning is the easiest way, is the easiest solution for not so clever people. We banned Russian TV channels because we could do nothing more. Natalia I agree with her. We could do nothing more. We had no time to produce more Ukrainian films to show on our TV instead of Russian. We could not produce better TV media to make them more popular than Russian TV. We could not. But we have to stop the flood of propaganda that killed our people and mimicry to alternative point of view, and we needed to stop it in order to save the lives of our people. And now we are seeking for more democratic solutions for the future, because banning is a partial solution for today, but it's not a solution for tomorrow. We understand that strategically we need to find other solutions. You have time to find a solution for yourself.
I want to remember that our guys died on east of Ukraine. It's continued. It's not ended, and we have not chosen now.
In fact, it's normal when you have some freeze in your informational space. Your task is people to understand their freeze.
Okay, so there's another question. Good evening, everyone. My name is Pavel Havlicek. I come from the Association for International Affairs. Thank you very much, first of all, that you came to the Republic to communicate your situation. I really appreciate to have 3 different points of view from 3 different regions and to know your situation. I have a follow-up question on Andrzej Soko, because I think he had a good point when he said that your situation is very complicated when you want to communicate this kind of active voice, not just to reveal the fake news, just to ban things which is controversial, even for me. It is just the first aid, kind of, but we need a strong voice of Ukrainians, strong independent media, as you spoke about that, Natalie. And I would have my question associated with this. What each of your media needs to communicate your active message more clearly, and to be heard more? What would you appreciate from the Republic? What would you appreciate from the EU in this sense? I know that there is this Gромadske project, and EU supported the regional brands of Gромadske in the regional centers, which is for me the way forward. But what your media would appreciate as a support to be heard more? Thank you.
We must learn to become professional journalists, because education of our journalists is not ideal. It's a big problem in Ukraine, because our journalists may write, but they have not about right. They have no subject. They have not no subject. It's our journalists, not economists, not sociologists, it's very big problem. They have no background, yes, and what we need now, I think we need more trainings, more support for. We need to become more open for West, for other country. We're so close in our space. We have not. We have a lot of work now. We work without holidays, 2 years. Not holidays, not holidays, not weekends, and it's difficult. And I think we cannot to view from outside on ourselves. I think we have more communication in maybe like this place. It's very good for us. And as I say, our people, and maybe it's a concern for us, we don't understand European values. It's true. We think that European values, it's a good road, it's a rich life, it's a good eat, I don't know, it's a good life. But European values, it's a democracy, discussion, it's understand that people near respect, yes, and I want to say that people near may have other views. It's normal, absolutely. Now we have a situation, very difficult situation, when our patriotic forces are so radical. So it's yes, I understand. It's absolutely normal ideas for Ukraine. It's good ideas, but it's not so democracy, because they not always to understand other view. It's we have a difficult process in Ukraine now. We grow up, and I think that's a level of propaganda. I think Russian propaganda in Ukraine and in Czech Republic and other country in Europe, it's absolutely different propaganda, because our people have basic for this propaganda. It's the Soviet Union, it's 24 years under pressure from Russia. Our minds of our people was clear. And now it's a very good basic for manipulation. I think that you have critical minds. You understand what's happened, and yours a little media project, alternative project, not so terrible for you.
I'd like to add a couple of words. In fact, we feel the support from European community, and we are grateful for this. And from the very beginning, when our government did nothing but banning Russian TV channels, Ukrainian NGOs and think tanks were those who started the struggle against Russian information aggression, and it would be impossible without the support from your governments and from national donors. And we feel the support, and we feel the moral support. We feel this interest from your side and your involvement in our program, and your understanding that this program is our common. But the main thing that I wanted to sound, it will be not new thing for you. We ask you to go on pressure on your government in order not to remove the sanctions from Russian Federation, in order to go on diplomatic pressure until the Donbass will be free of pro-Russian military forces and until Crimea is returned to Ukraine. This is the only thing, and this is the basic factor that can help us win. We cannot win only by military force. It's too bad. If Ukrainian wins, this will be the victory of all the Europe, and only because of European efforts toward this. Yes.
Well, I will continue Roman's thoughts. You know, what we need is if your attention to Ukraine. I mean, not inside Ukraine, but outside Ukraine, inside the European Union. People of European Union should understand that Ukraine is a real place with a real war, with real problems, and Ukraine is a real necessity for European Union. And it's a big problem that people of Europe think that Ukraine is somewhere between European Union and Russia, and that's all. So if you can make some efforts to tell people what Ukraine is, I think that would be great.
Okay, thank you very much. And if I understood correctly, the gestures from organizer, he already run off time. So I would like to thank first of all our guests and you for coming in such a big number, and I'm looking forward to see you sometime.